Hello viewers, Super GT here once again with some more action from the recent stream against aTTax Johnson. This is one of the community races we did afterwards. Now I'm going to drive off to the side as it gets a little bit laggy there. Just going to let everyone go as we go into turn 1. 22nd out of 22. It's going to get very congested as we go through the second turn. Now Mono goes a little bit wide into that other guy. I gained 2 positions out of that. Now look at that congestion. Looks like the M25, that guy is going to come back on the track sideways. And I'm through past him. Now this here, look at this congestion. 17 abreast as we come down the right hander. aTTax Johnson there just ahead. In his Viper, oh my god. There's about 8 people within 2 square meters there. As we come down the straight. The Mono there fighting against the Holden. As we go in, the Super is on the inside. Johnson's going to go very wide. And I'm going to get the inside line in my beastly Cadillac. This guy's going to come across. And I just have the space to get through on the inside. It's a drag race up into the Schumacher S. He's on my inside. I'm just going to... Well, I kind of gave him enough space. Well, you could debate that one, I think. But he was on the curb. And I kind of just left him there. Just forced him to stay on the curb. As I took as much space as I could, while leaving him just a tiny portion on the inside. But I'm through in 15th. Now, is he going to seek any retribution into the chicane? Let's hope not. He's a proper racing driver, GTC Lucifer. We've been racing all day, so let's hope we can have a clean chicane, and it is going to be so. There is someone off on the right hand side, a couple of people off. We're through into 11th without having to do too much work. Lucifer sticking with me in the Holden. So he's actually got some decent pace in that car. Now this is the Cadillac CTS V, tuned by DTM Lionel E46, one of my favourite tuners in the game, making this absolute monstrosity of a vehicle actually pretty decent in A class. As we come into the Nordschleife section, the Toyota Supra is wide, and I'm just through before he rejoins the circuit, thankfully. Into the top 10. We've got quite a string of cars here. If you look at the map, it's actually a fairly close race, given that there's been quite a lot of carnage and we are nearly 3 minutes into the race as well. So if this was a normal hopper, you know, the first place would be about near the finish line already, and then last place would be at the start line still probably. That is how stretched out it gets in your normal hopper. But here we've got a lot higher caliber of driver. But I'm not going to prove that, because I'm going to drive straight into the skyline, lose about 4 positions there. I just didn't notice it until the last second, obviously wasn't paying enough attention. And coming up past the Lotus once again, and I managed to get back past into the fearsome left-hander. This one really catching a lot of people out. It normally proves, but this time not too many people getting caught out. As I said though, quite good drivers in this lobby. So there's not going to be too many mistakes. Now a bit further around the lap, we are still in 11th here, trying to catch up with this group of cars here, the back of which is the Toyota Supra, as we come into the right hander before the middle straight section at the Nordschleife. So I said that really weird, didn't I? Nordschleife. But anyway, moving on. Coming up the straight then, which isn't straight. What is going to kick off? Is that Johnson? That is Johnson off on the side. We've got another guy. I think that was Lucifer as well. Johnson and Lucifer actually making contact and going off the track. Coming up here, the BMW of the brain damage. He is very quick, that guy. He's just going to edge out the Supra. And I'm through into 8th. Yeah, the brain damage really fast in his BMW 1M, I think that is. Please correct me if I'm wrong, which I probably am. Now coming up towards the carousel, just a couple of corners left before we get there. I'm in 8th. I do like the carousel because it gives you an indication of where everyone is in respect to each other. Well, typically anyway, because on the map you can see a lot further down the circuit, up ahead and backwards. So on the map there you can see pretty much from 1st to 19th where everyone is. A fairly closely drawn race, this one, after now 6.5 minutes worth of racing. Now coming up into the twisty section, of the Nordschleife. Brain damage is going to go wide, and I'm going to have a job on my hands trying to keep him behind through this section, as he looks like he has a very suitable car with this kind of handling kind of zone of the track. But this Cadillac isn't too bad itself. Yes, it is heavy, but it is very planted, let's put it that way. Guys ahead there just battling, kicking up quite a lot of smoke as they come through these turns. A lot of undulations as well. Don't let those catch you out. As you go over the top of the crest, the car will go light. As you go downhill, the car will compress and you'll get extra grip, seemingly. And then through the right hander here, coming out here, this turn a lot of people go wide there. Try not to get forward. Maybe driving less is more. Sometimes less is more. If you put in too much effort, you start making too many mistakes, and therefore you will go slower. Sometimes just driving within yourself is the best option, especially in a longer race where people are putting you under pressure. Just try to drive to your own standards, and then people will have to drive around you if they can. If you are slower, well, it's up to them to try to overtake you fairly and cleanly. So down the hill, it's going to go a little bit too quick and go glancing off the tyre wall, of the barrier should I say. There was no tyres there. And then the brain damage is going to get his 7th position back. The first 3 or 4 cars are around these next 2 corners, so they've got a good couple of seconds. I think it's O&R Radical. Yes, it is O&R Radical in the lead at this current moment. So let's see what we can do as we come into the final turn before the long straight here at the Nordschleife. So let's see what's going to develop. That is Select Veeps going very wide. Wasn't sure where he was going to go. I thought he was going to go to the right. Then he goes back to the left, and I just could not quite get past him. And as we rejoin, Johnson is going to get some momentum on me here. So I'm going to get into the slipstream of Veeps, another very fast driver in the lobby, and get in that slipstream. This Cadillac is very good down the straight, and then we're going to make the most of that, pulling to the left hand side to go past to reclaim 8th. But it's not going to last long, because Johnson has got the momentum in his Viper. That thing is carry on going. Look at that. That thing has got some serious speed as we go down the straight now, up the hill, and then back down into the last couple of corners on the circuit. We are doing the Nurburgring GP, don't forget here. So as we turn right and then left, almost going to the back of Johnson, we are going to go straight on instead of right as we rejoin the final turn of the GP circuit back onto the main straight. We have done 1 lap of 2, halfway through the race. Now back into the first turn of the Grand Prix circuit. I went for my braking zone that I was using in the Capri, which was obviously way too late, having to bail out of that braking zone. Otherwise I would have totally wrecked Johnson there, and thankfully I was feeling kind, you know, didn't want to totally wipe him out after having a good community battle with him, so decided to back out of that one. Now this turned into a 2-way battle between myself and Veeps here for 10th position in his BMW. So let's see what we can do as we go up into the Schumacher S, right on his tail. He actually gets some rather nice grip through there. He's actually going to drive away from me there by a good 80 or so feet. And then as we progress a little bit further round into the chicane this time, we are both through. He gets a little bit of oversteer through the first section and then on the exit, but he's through okay. I'm going to move to the inside though through here, and I'm going to brake a little bit too late and just push him wide. So I felt a little bit guilty about that. So I'm just going to let him go back past. I didn't think that was a fair overtake. Further around the race, this was the situation, so still right behind him. The guys ahead just moving away ever so slightly, so they have opened up the gap a little bit more. So I'm going to look around the outside up the hill. It's going to be a very risky manoeuvre, and I just dip 2 wheels onto the grass there, and they suck you in, and then that is it. Overtaking chance over. So we're going to have to wait pretty much to the end of the race, as it proves here. The Nurburgring is notoriously narrow, so it is very hard to get a very clean overtaking move done, normally relying on mistakes or one of the long straights as we are here. So now we can use the power of the Cadillac to move alongside and get past the BMW of Veeps with only a couple of seconds left to go in the race. So as we go into the last major braking zone, on the track. There we go, hitting the apex very nicely, and we're going to come through to finish in 10th. Lucifer went into the pit lane for some weird reason, and then as we crossed the line, a couple of guys are having a bit of banter, and then I almost catch up with some other people there, but then just finishing in 9th as Lucifer went into the pit lane for some unbeknown reason. That is going to close off this race. I hope you've enjoyed it, and that is going to close off the coverage of the recent stream with aTTax Johnson, the community event, which you can catch up on aTTax Johnson's Twitch channel, which I will link below if you want to watch the entire stream. But that is the end of this one, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. As always, subscribe if you'd like to see more of the same. Hit the like button if you like this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.